What's up, guys? Ben here, bringing you another video today. Last video from my aunt's house in Florida. I've had a great time here and not excited to go back to Columbus where it's gonna be cloudy. I think it's actually getting warm next week in Columbus, but not as warm as it was in Florida. Not as nice as the weather here. We've gone to the beach, swimming. Anyway, we have week 2 of Major 4 predictions to go through. Week 1 was pretty exciting, pretty lit. And there's a number of big storylines going into this week and a bunch of really good matches on schedule. We also have the return of Bounty Week, so that should be a little bit interesting. So let's dive in and make our predictions for the matches on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All right, let's start with the first match on Friday, Boston versus London. And if we take a look at the crowd predictions, I'm going, it's pretty heavily in favor of Boston. We do not like what we saw from London last week, and I'm going to be honest, I think the misery continues. I got Boston 3-1. We'll give London like either one of the first 2 maps, but they've been a really poor control team, and even if they win those first 2 maps, just can't be counted to win map 3. I know Boston played a lot of Fortress, but they'll still probably play an Expo here shortly. I just don't see it for London, man. It's really tough sledding for them at the moment, and not feeling good about it. Keeping it moving, we got Seattle versus Florida. Now, this is an interesting matchup. Florida did make a roster change this week. Cole Havoc is stepping away from the team for personal reasons. So Vickle is coming back into the starting lineup. This is under short notice. I believe they just started scrimming together like yesterday. So don't have a lot of faith in Florida in this matchup. I'm thinking to Seattle 3-0, to be honest. Seattle look pretty serviceable in search right now. The respawns, they should be able to outclass Florida, who I think are going to have a tough time without Havoc in the lineup. And there you go. I think Seattle get done pretty quick. All right, our last matchup on Friday, probably the best matchup is Rocker versus New York. I think this match is massive for both teams. Rocker coming off the 2-0 week last week in front of a home-ish crowd, but they have a match this week, and their only match. It kind of proved that wasn't just sort of a fluke weekend. I think if they lose this one, there's going to be questions about whether or not they're going to sustain that momentum. And for New York, they had a really good win last week against FAZE, but they have two tougher matchups this week. Well, I don't know about tougher, but they have 2 matchups this week to kind of continue that momentum. So I think this one could be kind of a banger. I'm just going to be honest, if this is going to be a gritty Game 5 situation, I think I trust New York more than I trust Rocker. We've seen Rocker toss away so many Game 5s this year, and I think this will be one in the same. If Rocker do show up in the series and play well, I think if they lose, there's good takeaways that they're competitive now. But if it's a really ugly loss, I think questions are going to continue about the Rocker camp and whether or not last weekend was a fluke. All right, we keep it moving. We've got London versus Vegas to kick things off on Saturday. I'm very curious what the audience picks is. 92% on Vegas, and they've never is this true? It looks like in recent memory, last 5 matchups, they've never beaten London. So this one can get kind of weird. I would say that the difficulty for me in this series is that Vegas kind of play up and down the people sometimes. So if the London team had a pretty serviceable showing on Friday, even though they lost, I could see Vegas losing this one. But at the moment, it's really hard for me to pick against them. I'm going to say a Game 5 between these two, a surprising Game 5. That Vegas will clutch up just because they're a better search team, but don't be surprised if London pulled an upset in this one. I'm not going to pick it. They don't have a lot of faith in their team, but really, really don't be surprised if it happens. All right, next up, we have the Los Angeles Thieves versus the LA Gorillas. This one's a little bit tricky. LAG only had 1 match last week, which they lost. That was obviously against Minnesota in front of the crowd in Wisconsin. And Thieves were looking good last week with 2 victories. A lot of the picks are on Thieves, and I'm going to do the same. I just don't see path forward for LAG in this matchup. Maybe they steal a search, but right now I think Thieves continue the hot momentum and they go 3-0 against their compatriots in LA, which, by the way, LAG's had their number pretty much this entire history of this matchup. So I'm picking against all of the momentum here just as a frame of reference. All right, we have 2 amazing matchups, I think, to finish off the day. So let's get into the first one. Optic Texas versus the New York Subliners. Now, Optic had 1 match last week. It was against London. So we haven't seen them play, I think, a quality opponent. And New York has kind of owned this matchup as of late. I do think Optic is coming in on good form, and I expect this one to go the distance. Optic is not the best control team. And I think if New York still won the first 2 maps, this goes Game 5. But if we're going to pick a Game 5 winner, I'll pick Optic because they've been really good. One of the best Game 5 teams all season. So if we get there, they'll get it done. I could see them doing a 3-1-2 and just dropping the control. But for me, in terms of the I think more consistent hardpoint play. I can't believe I'm saying this. I got to go with Optic. I will say though, Optic can get in trouble in this series if they lose that first map. Give New York some life going into map 2. Optic's been hit or miss on the map 2s depending on the situation. So this one could get interesting. All right, next up we have Toronto versus FaZe to finish off the day. Pretty split as far as we've seen with the fan predictions. These teams have battled a lot over the years. And I would say for both teams, I think this match has importance, but for different reasons. Toronto went 0-2 last week, and they really can't lose this matchup. They play Florida on Sunday, and then they finish off things, if we scroll down here, to find their last matchup versus Vegas. So, like, if they lose this, I could see them winning the next two, but it's going to be really tricky, and they're going to need some luck to get in the winner's bracket. For FaZe, I think obviously you don't want to be 1-2, but it's not the end of the world. If they lose this one, it's only match this weekend, and then next week they have Seattle and Rockers, so I think they can still find 2 or 3 wins there. It's just hard. I mean, I think for me, I need to pick the team that's probably playing a little bit better in S&D right now, and that's going to be FaZe. I think Toronto will take the control. Hardpoints could be like 50-50. Again, I think Toronto's obviously a really good hardpoint team, and FaZe is still figuring things out there. It's just at the moment, FaZe got to be the favorite search team. Toronto dropped 4 of them last weekend. So even though Toronto did beat FaZe the last time they played and kind of maxed them on that Asilo, I think there's sort of a cool tactical matchup here. So I'm going with FaZe. I'm a little surprised that 66-33 should be more of a pick 'em, but this one should be a fun one. I picked 3 game 5s on Saturday. We'll see if that sticks. All right, the final 3 matches. We're going to start off with Vegas versus LAG. And surprisingly, LAG won this one the last time they played prior to the event. And then obviously at the major, Vegas did beat them, but that was with LAG with a sub. Other than that, LAG has pretty much owned this matchup. But keep in mind, this is the first time we've had like a very competitive Vegas team. Hard to say in this one. I kind of going to go Vegas 3-1. My difficulties with LAG is they're just poor at respawn. Like they really fall off the respawn clip, and they're not a great search team. So it's hard for me to see a path forward. Vegas is poor at control, so maybe LAG take map 3, but I can see Vegas taking this in 4 pretty easily. Then we got Toronto versus Florida, and I'm going to be honest to the Florida boys, and I may even double point this later on this week. I think they get 3-0 smoked by Toronto. I really don't have Florida winning a map. It's just hard playing with a substitute, even if they get more practice with Vickle on Friday and Saturday getting into this matchup. Toronto win-loss second match is going to have a point to prove, I think. And they're just going to get it done with Florida pretty quick. DoorDash challenge. All right, our final matchup of the week is an absolute heater. Optic versus LA Thieves. The money, the fan predictions are on Optic. Even though I think that this should be a little bit closer of a pick'em because Thieves are coming in on pretty good form. I'm going to take Optic in a game 5. As you guys know, when we think a series is going to be the distance, which this one can, I'm going to take the team that I think is a little bit better in search, which by a slight here is Optic. Although I will say that I'm very interested to see this matchup, because if Thieves have really improved their situational play in search, they're playing an Optic team that doesn't always play by the book, that doesn't always play super disciplined, and have at times tossed away S&D maps on just chowing out mid window and Fortress. So you never really know. But I'm going to keep rolling with the Optic game 5 record and pick them in this one. But I honestly think this one can go really either way. And I think for Thieves, they win this one. They beat LAG and they go 4-0. Like they're going to jump the power rankings pretty high. And I also think for Optic, they have an opportunity to go start off 3-0 as well. So this one will be, I think, potentially the best match of the weekend. If I had to pick 2, it's probably Toronto FaZe, Optic, LA Thieves. But Optic also play New York on Saturday as well. So a good combo of matchups between a couple of those teams. And yeah, those are the predictions for now. Let's slide this over so you guys can see a little more. I feel pretty good about this week's choices. I think a little bit more obvious matchups this week as compared to the first week. But as always, there's upsets, things we don't predict. So I'm excited to see those as the bounty matches come into play this week. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of the video. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more. Looking to do like a Q&A video later this week. So be on the lookout for a tweet soliciting questions for that one. As always, guys, we will see you on the next video.